Hey yo everyone, DJ's in the house with another tech report. I'm going to try to do the best I can with the tech reports, unfortunately, since I'm no longer a part of any of the forums, well, namely the two main forums, United Cardists and Playing Card Forum. It's a little bit harder to get information, but I'm still going to try to do what I can. So let's start off with Kickstarter. There's a few new decks on there to tell you about. The first one is the Old Bones, which will be a USB-C deck. It's from a new creator, the Toronto Playing Card Company. It is themed on death and magic and faith, and it looks really fantasy, fairy tale almost themed. One thing to note is they did have the indexes in the wrong corners. It's a lefty deck right now. I pointed that out, and it looks like they may fix it. They didn't realize they made a mistake. $12,000 goal ran out at $4,000, which is actually pretty good, but not really my cup of tea. I'm not too interested in it, and I don't know if it's gonna get funded. We'll see. Then there is Voyager playing cards by I think it's Derek McGee, something McGee. Basically it's a reprint of the Lays and My Lees playing cards, which was themed after a movie, Man on the Moon or something like that. This time they're going to be printed by the Legends Playing Card Company, and not only is there going to be a blue deck, but there's also going to be a red deck, and the red deck is going to be limited to 1,111 decks. So pretty limited. It's red. I don't need another blue one. I'm getting a red one because it's a different color and it's a different company. Like I said, it's Legends Playing Card Company. I'm not really sure why they felt the need to reprint it, but they did. Keep in mind, quote cards, number cards are all standard. Jokers and Ace of Spades is the only customization. Another new deck is called Tech Skulls, and it's got a technology and skull theme combined. They did not put a whole lot of effort into it. There is absolutely nothing on the court cards. It just says King, Queen, or Jack. The number cards also have no pips, just indexes. The back design is a borderless design, bluish in color, and it's got a circle back style almost, but kind of a technology and futuristic looking. And currently, I believe they're at, I think the goal is 1.5 or $1,500, I should say, and slowly getting there. I don't know if it's gonna get funded or not. It's just kind of weird, and not a whole lot of effort put into it. I mean, it's one thing to have a minimalist deck with court cards and pips or whatever, it's standard looking or whatever. It's another one to just not put any effort into the court cards, not put any pips whatsoever, and why? Okay, then there's the Brasilino, which is a World Cup inspired deck. It has a one-way back design that says World Cup, Brazil World Cup 2014, something like that. And it has a image of the actual World Cup trophy, so it's a one-way back in green. The faces are also one-way, and they feature some cartoony players, and also some of them, I think the number cards all feature jerseys from the different teams, from what I can tell. It's interesting, but it's kind of weird. And personally, if I was going to launch this deck, I would have done it weeks ago, so that potentially people could have it by the time World Cup starts. Because by the time these get made, if they get funded, by the time people get them, you're not going to care anymore. It's like making a Christmas deck and then giving it to people in July. There's not much point. Um, and right now they're looking for $2,400, I should say. That's not very good. And currently they're at $12, and one backer. So yeah, it's not doing too good. Then there is the Lambda playing cards, which is not related to Revengeance and Nerds in whatsoever. Although they kind of bore the name, the Tri-Lambs. The code cards are basically standard, except they're almost jumbo indexed. The indexes are pretty interesting, pretty big. The faces, the number cards, I'm not a huge fan. It's basically very similar to the ultraviolet playing cards that I have. You can check it out. So basically what they have is, instead of just having one set of pips in the middle, they have a set of pips up here and a set of pips down here. So that it's reversible basically, which is just really unnecessary. And just kind of bizarre. The back design is basically a jumbo diamond back design with red and blue and white all mixed up. And I believe clubs and spades are blue in color. Hearts and diamonds red. It is a red and blue deck. And I don't have the figures on here, but I don't know if it's going to do too good. And that one's been around for a few days, but I just didn't mention it earlier. Another new deck is called History on Deck. It's based on the American Revolutionary War. Basically, it's going to have images, I believe, on every card that are going to be from a reenactment of the war. So basically, you're going to have actors or people reenacting the war, and they're going to take those pictures and put them on the cards. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. It's just probably not the greatest idea, and probably not going to do that good. So far, it's not. Another new deck is called Vincent's Playing Cards, and it's based on Vincent van Gogh. I believe each card features a different Van Gogh image. And I also see some kind of writing on the faces as well. Obviously not a USPC deck. There's two different decks, and I believe there's a series that is planned. And it's pretty interesting. I think they're already at $4,000, and they're looking for $10,000 or $12,000, something like that. So it might get funded. I don't know. I don't know what kind of interest is going to be in decks like that. And then there is one more to tell you about on Kickstarter, Get Made, which is by Scott King, who previously had another deck. I can't remember what it is. I can't recall if it was Gentleman 52 or if it was Steampunk. No, it wasn't Steampunk. Maybe it was Steampunk Goggles. I don't know. I don't recall exactly, but he has had at least one other deck out. It is going to be a bicycle branded deck. There's two decks, a silver one and a gold one, and it's basically inspired by 1920s Mafia. So it's basically a Godfather deck. It's all about getting made, and it's pretty cool. I like it. Definitely go check that one out. On top of that, the Hawaiian playing cards by Home Run Games was funded, as was the Borderline cards. There is some decks that are ending soon. This includes the Bicycle Monster Montage by Scott Carey, I believe it is. 37 hours left. They are just over a quarter of the way. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. Not the first time, and all I can say is that maybe some ideas just don't work or just aren't that popular. Perhaps if you went with a non-USPC deck, maybe it would fund. I don't know. Then there is the Deconstructed, which is a pretty interesting deck. 63 hours left, and they are about halfway there. Not likely going to happen. They have mentioned that they basically accepted defeat on this deck. I know that it's not going to get funded, but they did announce that they have another one coming soon. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. The Synthesis playing cards, which really did not get anywhere, 31 hours, and so far they're at 600 pounds out of 3,500 pounds, I should say. 3.5 pounds, I was going to say, but 3,500 pounds is a better way of saying it. So, not close. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. And, well, there's more. Oh, and the Morse Code playing cards by Rena Joy Designs. 17 hours left. They've been sitting at basically $600 out of a $10,000 goal since basically the beginning. Maybe if the court cards were better or the back design was better, it would have more luck. Or if they're just stuck with a non-USPC deck like their previous campaign. But, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know too much about what's coming. I do know that a new site, cardlaunching.com, is launching in August, which is going to be a new playing card specific crowdfunding website put out by United Cardists. And they've got about 12 different decks lined up for the launch by all the big Kickstarter project creators. And that includes Jackson Robinson and I believe Lautrec of Half Moon playing cards, and also I'm guessing Lorenzo Gazziotti, who has the Heretic deck right now on Kickstarter. I'm not entirely sure about that. And others, probably collectible playing cards, Gambler's Warehouse, I'm guessing. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just throwing out names. And the decks on there are going to be awesome. It's going to be about $6 to $8 a deck, which is a hell of a lot cheaper than Kickstarter. Most of them are probably going to be through Expert Playing Card Company because they've partnered with them, and it's going to be super simple to go through them. And it's excellent quality, so why not? I got no problem with that. But creators can use USPC if they would prefer. And some obviously would prefer a bicycle branded deck. And also Jackson Robinson is going to be doing his own crowdfunding on his own website for his own decks. Although to me, I wouldn't call that crowdfunding. I would call that pre-saling, personally, because that's exactly what it is. So it doesn't make sense to call it crowdfunding. You're just trying to get in the game. And, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Dan and Dave's Deck Starter has a new deck called Flesh and Bones that is on Deck Starter. I believe it's $12 each plus shipping. It's pretty interesting. It's got almost a circle back design on the back design and interesting faces. And one other deck to tell you about, I apologize for being so long. I was hoping to make it faster, but it didn't work. Is the latest deck from the Blue Crown, which is the Brazil 2014 decks. They got green and yellow back designs with a almost soccer ball type pattern in the center, and also a little bit of red on the back design. Faces standard, but apparently custom coloring. Custom jokers and ace of spades, of course, all designed by Randy Butterfield. Awesome designer, no problems with him whatsoever. Always like his work, and this is probably one of my favorite Blue Crown decks that I've seen. There's 5,000 available, I'm guessing B stock, because B stock requires a minimum of 5,000. And they look pretty awesome. And there's also included a red card and a yellow card. If you're not familiar with those are what the referees use when they're calling the penalties. So they'll throw up a yellow card. If you get two of those, it becomes a red card and you get ejected. Or you can just get a red card. And I'm sure somebody can figure out a way to use those for some magic or something. Or at the very least, you can use them as a cut card for poker or whatever. But I think they're pretty awesome, and they are USPC. So go check them out. They're available right now, 5,000. I will see you next time.